Hi everyone, my name is Alexis Mears, and this is my visual presentation on my recollection of how literacy started for me and how I have become the person that I am and the influences that have led me here in that area. So my earliest memories and conversations about books would be, as a child, my grandma would read me Mother Goose. And so this is the actual book that she would read to me, the Mother Goose. And it was old, and we had tons of fun with it because we would read some of the stories and then we would make up our own songs to them. And I remember doing that when I was a little kid. Like, little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider who sat down beside her and frightened Miss Muffet away. Like, just stuff like that. And it was always really fun. So that's my earliest memory of it. The kind of access to books that I had as a child would be going to the library with my mom. I did that a lot. I had a lot of memories of that. My mother and dad also signed me up for like a book club of some sort. I honestly can't remember what kind it was, but I got like every month I got a couple of books in the mail, and so that was really fun. Earliest memories of TV and exposure, lots of Disney, Mr. Rogers. I'm a child of the 80s. I was born in the early 80s, so you know, I remember watching Sesame Street, and I remember watching Mr. Rogers, and a lot of Disney. Love Disney so much. And the fairy tales. I was a big fairy tale girl, so I really liked stuff like that. I experienced learning to read, so this is fun. I remember being like 6, and where I lived, I went to a grade in between kindergarten and first grade, and they called it T1, transitional first. And so this was a grade in between for kids who were too smart to stay in kindergarten, but they weren't mature enough to go on to first grade. And that was me. So I remember learning to read in T1, and I went home and I had this exact book. This book. Do you guys see it? Hey, my name is Alice. And if you take a look, I actually, it was the one I had when I was 6 or 7, because I wrote my name in it. Isn't that cool? So this book is awesome. The illustrations are by Stephen Kellogg, and it's really cool because it's an ABC book. And so the text itself is very repetitive, and it's really easy. And if you look closely, you can see where I had underlined things and had written as I was trying to learn how to read. So I learned how to read by using this book and with my T1 teacher and my mom at home, and I still have it and I love it. And I encourage you to check it out because the illustrations are so cute. So that's what I had going for me. My favorite book as a child, and honestly still is one of my very favorite books to this day, is Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. This is an incredible story. I love to do it as a read aloud for my class now, my pre-K kids. Love it, love it, love it. Love the imagination in it. Love the artistry, the cross-hatching as far as, the illustrations go, and how as you get deeper into the story, it's almost like a dream. It's just a fantastic book. So yay, Where the Wild Things Are. When did I first start using a computer? Again, born in the 80s. So those were not something that was in everybody's house at the time. I remember being in 4th grade, and my dad had bought us a computer for Christmas, and it was in our spare bedroom, and it was dial-up, and it had, I remember playing on Microsoft Paint with it, and then actually learning by the time I was in high school and we were learning to type, like keyboarding or whatever. We were doing those in a computer lab at school. So that'd probably be my earliest computer experience, I suppose. My attitude about reading as a child. I love to read. I have always loved to read. Always, always. So when I was a kid and There were, the Book It program or anything William Allen White where you had to read all the books and stuff. I was all about it. And I was also that weird kid that liked to do the spelling bees and things like that. So, I've always read and I love reading. And that passion of mine just grew as I got older. My favorite genres. I love history. I love romance novels. I just do. I love them, love all of them. I love love, and I love stories about love, and I really like historical romance novels. There is an author named Beatrice Small, and she writes historical romance, but what's going on is true history. Like, she'll write about William Wallace or something like that, and it's just good. So that's the kind of stuff I like to read, honestly. The best book I have ever read, the best book I've ever read, probably The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I had to read that when I was at Southwestern the first time when I was getting my bachelor's back in 2005, and my professor Daniel Daniels had us read that for a class, and it changed my life. It really made me look at the world in a different way, and I can't read it to this day without crying every single time. So definitely. Memories that I have of school, grade level, planning to teach related to writing and reading with others. I had a teacher who was really great at guided readings, and she was really great at read alouds. And so my second grade teacher, Mrs. Goforth, started doing read alouds with us, which it was so cool because it was like you got all these story times when you were in kindergarten and T1, and then first grade I don't remember a whole bunch of read aloud story time, and then I remember being in second grade and my teacher reading us Ramona. I love Ramona, and some of my memories of the teacher reading Ramona to us out loud after lunch. We would sit around for 20 minutes and listen. We'd get to lay on the floor and we would get to listen to the teacher talk and read out loud to us. And some of those stories are just burned into my brain because of that. Ramona, where she gets the doll and she names it Felony and her family makes fun of her for it. So good. So big fan, Beverly Cleary, love her very much. Teachers, parents encourage my literacy, again with the Book It programs and, things like that, being able to read. I had family members that wrote letters, and so back in my day, we wrote letters to people, and so I had pen pals, and that was fun. My favorite subjects in school, anything but science and math. Just not that brained person. I loved art, and I loved English and history and anything else besides science and math. Yes. And how did I develop the literacy skills I have today? I think because I have a voracious appetite for words and reading in general. It came easy for me. It wasn't something I had to make myself do. So I hope that you enjoyed this. Hope it's different. Hope it's something that maybe you heard and went, oh yeah, me too, or could relate to in any way, shape, or form. So thanks a lot. Have a great day. Go literacy.